Wayne. Apparently you're getting into short-term rental education. So let's take a quick look.
To the youngsters, I know you're having fun. I used to have fun myself, but there's something you need to know. Stuff like that, that's a load of crap. That's a load of crap. To the youngsters.
So I don't think he's talking about Airbnb itself. I think he's talking about the rental arbitrage portion that you see in there. For those of you who don't know what rental arbitrage is, well, arbitrage is the act of buying something at one price and then reselling it at a higher price. Typically, you do this what's called retail arbitrage, where you'll buy something from clearance section at Home Depot, and people will resell it on Facebook Marketplace or Amazon at a much higher price, so they make a big spread on it. Rental arbitrage is where you're renting a property from a landlord. So you're not purchasing an asset. You're not investing into the real estate, but you are buying the time on that property. You're then turning around, and in the case of rental arbitrage, you're furnishing the unit or doing things to upgrade the unit, and then turning around and subletting it out on Airbnb as a short-term rental, typically for anywhere from one night to more medium-term rentals, which is multiple months in a row. It's an old industry. It's existed for a while. Anyone who knows any corporate housing companies or things that were catering to traveling nurses and stuff, it's existed for a long time. Let's go and take a look. I think in the comments, Wayne will explain a little bit more about what his feelings are, and because I don't think he's doing this just for the shock content. So diving into the comments, the first comment we see is from Samuel. Just giving a little dump and crap. My first instinct as well. Wayne then says, one of the most riskiest strategies with the least amount of upside. Sam asks for the owner or the host, and Wayne replies for the tenant/investor. And yeah, I agree. Honestly, rental arbitrage is both in a lot of ways very, very risky and also very, very risk free. One of the big things with rental arbitrage is you're only locked in for a year. So at the end of the day, if you pick up a non-performing unit after 1 year, you can get out of the contract, minimize your losses, and walk away. Meanwhile, if you had bought a condo last year in British Columbia, with the new bylaw changes, you're kind of SOL. You're stuck with that condo, and now it's depreciating in value rapidly. The amount that you stand to lose if you are a Airbnb operator in BC is far greater than if you are a rental arbitrage operator. So that's one of the things about rental arbitrage is there is a lot more risks, because at the end of the day, you're on the hook for a lease for 1 year, and you don't get the underperforming asset part.
You'll own nothing and be happy.
So the next comment is from Lena, and she actually talks about that. The government's making, in her opinion, communist measures taken, and is now financially devastating to the people who own short-term rentals. Even the regular long-term rental market has been devastated, because in a lot of these places, there was a lot more housing than there were people who were there to rent it. So now the rental market's crashed. So by doing this, it's not just affecting short-term rental hosts, but it's also affecting long-term rental landlords, because many of these properties have gone from negatively cash flowing to catastrophically negatively cash flowing overnight, and nobody was ready for this.
Market cap is $2.168 trillion. And now the market, it went to zero.
Jamila says, definitely when you're operating a small scale banking on one unit, but when you spread out your unit economics over multiple units with one lease price, the risk is almost negated. The Empire State Building was operated forever by a master leaseholder, so that's rental arbitrage in the States, who has now purchased the building, is using the profits he made as the head tenant. Many units, one lease price, that's the trick. And it's true. Many hotels actually don't own the buildings that they operate out of. They lease them out. And that's something that's a little bit of a secret in the hotel industry, is probably only about half of the hotels actually own the buildings that they're in. Now, obviously, the big chains, they do everything they can to own it, but some of the medium and small chains, they'll just operate it out as a lease option. And then as well, Jamil's right. If you're going to arbitrage, 5 units, just don't even bother. It's not worth it. It's not worth the risk. It's really difficult. You need to be in the business of scaling up, because this business it's not worth it for you to operate as a small scale operator. You're just going to cause yourself headaches. However, it's a business where you can easily scale up into high cash flowing business. For example, Sonder is traded on the S&P 500. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. It has over 2,000 units. My mentor, Sean Rakijik, he operates pad suites. I think he's got about 200 units right now. You need to be able to scale up in that direction. Otherwise, in my opinion, it's not even worth the getting into arbitrage unless you're looking to do that, because what you're doing is you're building a business. You're not building a real estate portfolio. You're not investing in an asset. You're building a business. And so Wayne actually comments on that. He says the corporation leasing it probably had more than $30 in the bank accounts. I've seen so many investors F this up hard over the last decade. The corporation probably had more than $30 in the bank account when they were doing the Empire State Building. At the same time, that doesn't mean they started out that way. The little thing he says there, F this up over the last decade, arbitrage hasn't been that popular that long. I've been doing it since 2017. Probably 2018 is when it became a popular thing. That's when you saw like Ty Lopez and Chai T and those like scammy guys throw out their little courses out there telling people to go and they can make billions of dollars overnight.
Here in my garage, just bought this new Lamborghini here. It's fun to drive up here in the Hollywood Hills. But you know what I like a lot more than materialistic things? Knowledge.
And then now we got Wayne's comment here, and I think he kind of clarifies a lot more on what he was looking for. I think everyone might be focusing on Airbnb. That's not the point. Rental arbitrage is the point. There's tons of educational programs that teach new investors with no money to get started by locking up leases on Airbnb. It's incredibly risky. You're realizing only one of the three profits of real estate investing: cash flow. You're missing out on mortgage pay down and cash flow. I think you meant appreciation, not cash flow twice.
That's how important monthly cash flow is.
And you don't have the security of long-term leases. There are huge fluctuations in revenue that create huge risk. Sherry Lynn then replies, this is what I said to another investor. Once again, it's not really knowing how to do the things that are ruining it for the educated ones. There should be a standard to get into it. So honestly, I agree with Wayne. This isn't real estate investing. Arbitrage is, and I want to emphasize that, arbitrage is not real estate investing. You're creating a business. There are risks involved with it. In some areas, there's a lot of ways you can mitigate your risks. For example, if you go into a province that has rent control, you don't have to worry about your rents rising. But typically provinces that have rent control are more likely to ban short-term rentals. On the flip side, if you're in a province like Alberta,
I'm Alberta bound. It's piece of heaven that I found.
Rents are cheap and you're able to get a lot of units for very, very affordable amounts. So that way, in the event there is a fluctuation, you have a larger spread that you're able to weather out any storms. I mean, even in Edmonton here, January always sucks every single year. January is always the worst month for short-term rentals. But, summertime, it's absolutely insane the amount of money you make. I still do rental arbitrage. I don't do it for the profit, though. For me, although I only keep the profitable units, one of the reasons why I do rental arbitrage is it provides consistent work for my cleaners. At the end of the day, I have this cleaning staff that I've employed that I need to provide steady hours and steady income to. So I have these arbitrage units, even though some of them I absolutely hate personally, because they provide that consistent work during the slow season, so that way my cleaners can continue to make a healthy living. And that's one of the important things is I would not recommend a rental arbitrage business to everyone. For some people, I would definitely recommend it. If you're looking to scale up your Airbnb portfolio quickly and get skills, it's a great way to do it with low risk. You're at the most out, $10,000 on a furniture package on one apartment. However, at the same time, though, it's also a business where you can get caught holding the bag with having a lot of leases due in 6 months and you're losing money. So it's really important to do your market analysis to take a look into it. And I do appreciate Wayne. I do appreciate Wayne's point of view. He is a fantastic real estate investor. If you're looking to get into being a landlord or getting into the Edmonton market, I recommend his morning podcast. They're fantastic. At my boot camp, I'm going to be talking about the rental arbitrage and how to know whether to do it or to not. At the end of the day, I agree with Wayne. There is a lot of crappy courses out there. I think almost everything you can get at some of those courses, or on all those courses, you can find for free on Sean Rakijik's channel. Sean Rakijik has over 600 YouTube videos on rental arbitrage. He's probably the best guy out there, and he does what he actually talks about, as opposed to another. He has never done it before, and it's just a scam, that course that he throws out using basic info you can find on YouTube for free. So I recommend to everyone, be careful of the rental arbitrage and realize it's a little bit of a different kind of game. I agree with Wayne.
I agree.
Personally, I recommend it to anyone who's looking to grow a serious business or has an alternate reason other than just making money. So anyways, guys, I hope that helps. Love you, Wayne. Thanks for letting me use you for content.